Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. Just got back from the weekly Fox Business hit. Sorry that it was actually moved to 3:50 versus 3 o'clock. So had me off the desk for the close for the radio, which I apologize. While we were there, they actually gave a good tribute to, it's called Houses for Heroes, where they're trying to put together an initiative to get houses for veterans that come back and can't get a job and don't have money and serve their time to keep us safe. And this is their brand. So if you take a close-up here, this is what they were giving out to the traders down there. And they gave me one. So anyway, with all that said, let's get the close-up off because my head's big enough. Let's just go through the action. We came in this morning. There was a big gap up in the futures, supposedly a deal close to signed. You know, the market gave a sigh of relief because it was off a little bit because they didn't think that would happen over the weekend. So you look at the SPX and you'll see that you go back to the chart and you know, at this point, that's why traders don't like gap ups because there's typically not much room left after a gap up. So with that being said, you know, still hanging out above this descending channel. I would say as long as we continue to stay above like this 2110-ish, I think most traders are going to try and be long for what, in my opinion, should be some type of move through highs here. Whether you need another day or so, we shall see. But this probably would be the line in the sand, and the way the market is, maybe you got to give it a little bit more. But this is, you know, Friday's pivot is 2109, and this is at 2106. So let's hope we stay inside a little bit and go higher. Right now, you still have the IBB leading the way. If you went long the strongest sector, which traders typically like to do, you know, and you got long on this breakout, you had a small inside day on Friday, and then you're at new highs. Do you chase the bios here now after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day move? Probably not, but it doesn't, you know, also mean it's a short. Russell. Also extended, both of these sectors, strongest, you know, best in breed. A lot of bears were thinking that it was going to have an outside day towards the top and break down, and did not happen this time at highs. You know, some people are looking at the XLE for a bottom type trade, still, you know, not really showing its full, you know, the potential there yet. But if this were to get a little bit of a bid, that could also help move the markets. But more leadership-wise, it's XLE. I mean XLF. I'm sorry. You know, little tough action there as you had this, you know, engulfing move. So maybe people thought the banks would have some exposure to some type of big disorderly default, and then today gapped up, and you know, maybe a few inside days and it could go. Goldman Sachs made new clean highs. J.P. Morgan made, you know, a new high, came off a little bit. So you know, I'm in a little Morgan and Citigroup to think about if they could play a little catch-up, but that type of trade hasn't been the best trade, but we shall see. This seems as if we have another positive day or so. Could work its way to highs, and the same thing for Citigroup, which is pausing before highs. It's been holding above the 8 and 21 day. It's been better to buy it on the 8 and 21 day and then add a little bit on certain breakouts, but those breakouts, you know, have been a little tougher to play than buying it, you know, into the dip. So anyway, with that being said, you know, banks, we're stronger today with, you know, just some other sectors like the bios and the Russell. And the S&P is just lagging a little bit, so we'll see. Let's see what the transports did. Transports, you know, kind of had an up move, and after this, when it held support, which is small red dog reversal here, which some people did there or here, you know, you had your 3-4 day move, and now it's still broken, so you got to take trades. Last week I talked before on Thursday about like UAL and some of the airlines, and granted, doesn't look like much, but if you played these ranges and you got out when it broke the 8 and the 21 day here, or got out on this outside day there, or when it broke the 200 day, and we talked about this red dog reversal here, and then it made you know, a double bottom type move, and boom, you know, there's your little move. Kind of get up to the 200 day probably, but 3 days up in a broken sector, not such a bad idea to take some profits. AAL did the same kind of thing. Not that's Apple. Let's get to that after. AAL. It just knows to go to Apple. So this same type of thing. You had your reversal here, which is that first red dog reversal. Then you had one right here. If you missed it, made a higher low, and then cleared this lower pivot, and decent move. So it's coming into some resistance. Hopefully you trimmed some. Maybe took, you know, a bigger tier into this day because it did show relative strength on Friday. And now here you are. So hopefully you have a little less on. As far as high beta names, let's just roll right through them. You know, Apple, you know, I still think the jury's out on whether it's going lower or higher. If it's going to go higher, it better go soon. You know, it's got to break above this with some kind of authority. That would be, you know, your technical breakout spot, 128.31. It's been very lethargic. You know, here is, you know, this inside wedge. I guess, you know, I am long some. I might have to be out for jury duty tomorrow. Hopefully not. If I did, I probably would put a stop in here at 126.40, and then maybe even a buy stop if we're to get above that. But buying strength in Apple hasn't been good. We'll see what happens next. Amazon, you know, not so bad actually. You know, as far as you know, you had this move last week, and I actually sold some strength there, and now it seems like it's trying to give you a little inside action to perhaps go again another day or so, and maybe next time's a little bit cleaner. Netflix was upgraded, pulled in, and closed pretty strong. I think the BTIG analyst said 900 plus, so this still held the 8-day. Some guys probably got caught short because they're closing the lows or out of it, and then today, I got to give it to Sperling. He had a nice little buy the dip, you know, gave you a quick pullback. This is what trade, you know, this actually played by some rules, right? Gapped up, came in, held a portion of the gap, turned up right here. You could have used this buy versus the low here. You could have added when it went above the morning high. Look at that squeeze, boom. And then it kind of trended up a little bit for the majority of the day. But, you know, buy area 1, buy area 2, sell some strength, retested it, and then trended up all day. So kudos to Sperling for that. Google, you know, reclaimed all the moving averages last week. You know, and then today, if you chased it, you got a little hurt. You know, maybe tomorrow you get a little down open. You'd be a buyer into this retest of the, you know, 557 area. But again, not really such a great stock, so be a little careful. Tesla, there was news that they were putting off one of their next generation vehicles, and they refuted it. It was never able to get its traction back. I probably wouldn't be shorted overnight, you know, or if I had a, you know, an electric taser to I don't even know one of those sayings right now, but you know, trying to hold here, so I think this is more of a long than a short, but I'd be careful here. It's had a big move, but it's still hanging in there. What else is going on? AMBA, a lot of guys who were trying to short and find the top last week, they might have been trying to, you know, buy the dip here, and just be careful with these type of names. I know, you know, I think I tried shorting it in here, and it didn't work. Or no, actually I tried shorting it in here. It didn't work, and I got away from it. I said, you know, I'm not going to try it again until you get a signal. And if you ever got a signal, this was your first one, right? Wide range bar down, engulf 2 days, breakout failure, that's your short signal. You didn't have to test it the whole way up and lose a little bit of money, and then boom, you got paid today. So now it's a broken name, below the 8, below the 21-day. Doesn't mean we can't find some type of red dog reversal. Some guys might have gone home a little bit long, which makes a little sense in the size of the move, but you got to be careful. You know, it broke out from here, okay, but it also came from, you know, all the way down in below 30. You know, I know a lot of guys last year. Let me just, you know, finish off with this. So tomorrow my strategy would be, if it opened up in the red, maybe you go from red to green, you know, for a trade, and then if it were to reclaim 94.06, you could get a red dog reversal type of scalp. Probably not a huge trade, but maybe. If it gets upgraded or something happens tomorrow and it's up $4 or $5, then it is what it is, and it's a little choppier. You know, if it then opens up a little bit, pushes below, puts a low, and comes back up, then maybe you have your buy stop. You know, and then if it trades off, you have the 50-day underneath it. Sorry, I drew that line wrong, but that's where it is. So we'll see. Just so you know, though, a lot of guys got very hurt with this FEYE, okay, FireEye, last year. I'm just going to show you. This was one of the best stocks out there, okay? Had a really nice move, okay? This was a really, really nice move, just kind of like AMBA. And people were trying to, you know, they made money here, made money there. Lots of technical, good action here, right? Good action, good breakout there, above the 8 and 21-day. And then this day happened. It's your king and queens formation. That's your get out of dodge formation. That's your maybe get short formation. And then it came in here, and everyone thought they were going to get a little bit of a bargain right there on the 21-day. So some people might have been buying it, which made some sense, testing the 21-day. Okay, right here, saying, okay, I didn't get stuffed at 95, let me try it there. And then what happened? That happened. Okay, so it stayed in there, that's your out. You don't know how far it's going to go down. P.S., it stair-stepped all the way down to, you know, to a lot lower. So, you know, just know that you might be able to find some trades here, but a level versus a level. Came in here, broke this, that was your out. Came down, looked pretty good if you were buying it versus a level, and you were buying it versus 60 because you didn't get stuffed up there. You know, then I think it continued down again. So you never know. Just be careful. And then look how low it went before. So a lot of guys spent probably 3 months and a lot of mental capacity doing this entire scenario where it was below the 21-day the entire time. Here is when it was above it. Here is when it was below it. So you want to test levels of support, and maybe you caught a good trade, but if it doesn't build, you have to have an out. So with this AMBA, now you have a point of reference. You have this one, and you'll see how it acts there tomorrow. If it opens lower, maybe you get a decent trade to the upside, as it just came in a lot of points. If it opens up higher, see if it holds, and and then if it touches the 50-day, see how it acts there. But ultimately, you can't just blindly buy this now. The shorts got paid if they stayed the course. It's always hard there, or if you just look for your signal. Just my 2 cents on that. As far as Facebook, really nice breakout today. Close near highs. I've been talking about how this has been best in breed. I was along it today. I was able to buy it today. It's actually one of the few things that worked for me today. And broke above this. It's been trending higher. I don't know if it's just going to take out all-time highs, but seems like it's on its way. LinkedIn, still choppy. I would wait to 219 plus, with big volume. Twitter, they sold the strength in the morning. It didn't fall apart, but it's hanging in there. If you're in from the red dog reversal, we talked about maybe reducing a little bit up here, but if you're in tier 1, I guess stay just in case something happens. And that's about it. The action is not the best, but there's things to do. I know for me, on Friday, I had 7 longs coming in and none going out. So today I had to figure out a way to try and get in some, and might not be rewarded on the open tomorrow, but going to try and give it a little bit of room, because I do think that the S&P is going to follow what the bios did and the Russell did. Just with a little bit of time, we get a little bit more of a bounce, and maybe the oil names and the IYT and the banks continue, and some tech acts a little better. Then they all move up through, and I think that's that's the path it could go. Maybe China bounces also, 13% off the highs, mainland China. So we'll see how that looks tomorrow morning, and hopefully I'll be here. If not, I'm going to be sitting in a room, maybe getting picked for jury. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it is the legal system, and we need jurors in order to get some fair trials. So I'll try and talk to them, because I'm also heading to Denver for a Schwab panel, which I was also on a conference call for, that if you could sign up virtually. I'll put it on Twitter for Thursday. So very busy. So I'm trying to time some things. I might give it a little bit looser parameters and have one eye on it, and be like someone who is in a career and trading part-time and trying to manage intermediate moves. And with all that said, have a good night. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.